Hi, it's Carlita Wright, and in this video, I wanted to walk you through the targeted selection process. As I may have or may not have shared in previous videos, if I haven't got to it yet, I want to make sure you guys understand that I have interviewed a lot of people over my career. Prior to transitioning to my own business, online marketing and affiliate marketing, I spent 10 years or better interviewing candidates, and I've seen some of the best and I've seen some of the worst. And in that, it's actually helped me understand what people are missing in their interviewing skills. And it's funny because I didn't really understand how much of a benefit it was to me to go through so many interviews myself and fail them, or to think that I did well and then not get a call back, or to get all the way to the face-to-face interview and then bomb a question or say something that's so illegal, right? And then just eradicate all options of being a viable candidate. But even in that, I know that everything worked for my good. I know that it all worked out well. And I was able to, with my last job that I had, thankfully, my last job, I had gotten so good at the interview process. I actually got 9 offers in about 2 weeks. And believe me, that was no small feat. I was just very organized. I was very focused. I just knew I was going to get the jobs. And I went into the whole process trying to have every option on the table for myself. And the companies flew me from city to city. I went from Nashville to I went to Chicago, back to Nashville, then from Nashville to Kansas City, and then Texas, and then back to Nashville. The next day I'll fly out and go to Richmond, drive down to Hampton Roads area, which I'm at now, and then fly back home and then drive to Kentucky. I mean, I was all over the place, and I had a couple more interviews after that whole 2 week process, and I had the jobs. I knew I had them. They really liked me, and they were about to fly me out. But I was just so tired, and I had to tell the recruiters, you know what? I don't even care anymore. Tell them I'm making a decision, and they kind of just move too slow. I had that leverage to be able to command the jobs and command my value. And it's so funny because recruiters who are working for me, they would tell the hiring managers, hey, you know what, she has 4 or 5 other offers at this time. We got to move really fast before she make a decision. And then when it got down to the last week, they were telling the company that I had like 8 or 9 job offers, and they would bring it up in their interviews. So how do you feel being a woman on demand? And I knew what he was talking about, the HR manager who said that. I just smiled, and I just said, just take it as it comes. And I think he was kind of shocked, or he may have tried to see where I was going to say, or puffed it up, so if I'm going to be puffed up or not. But I just played it so calm and so cool, as if I knew this was supposed to happen, and it was true. I knew that was going to happen in my life. So I'm just trying to take this time and just pour into you and help you understand that you can master your interviewing skills. You have to practice. You got to give it your all. And for those of you who are not trying to get a job, who are not looking for a job, that's good. It's okay. That's fine. I can help you as well. I've actually done some very amazing things and helped a lot of people online get their own business up and going. So just make sure you contact me for that. But for now, I'm going to make this video to help you understand the secrets that you don't understand when you're going into the interview process. And one reason why I think I was so good at not only giving interviews was because I was awesome at delivering interviews. So I was very good at interviewing as well as being an interviewer. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I want to say is that this whole interview process is a method to the madness, whether you realize it or not. I'm not sure where you are in your career, your job, but it's all the same. It doesn't matter what kind of job you have. Now, there may be more expectations and more job responsibilities and a higher salary or a lesser salary, but the core content, the core process is the same. I mean, every business, for one, has to be an equal opportunity employer. They have to give everyone a fair chance and to interview people on the same level. So we're going to go into that from that note. So, like I said, big businesses basically have to do what's right, and they have to select the right candidate. That's why they call it targeted selection. And before I go further, I just want you to understand. I want to be sharing with you some key concepts that was shared with me as I was interviewing people. So you're getting some really valuable content that you might not get if you had not connected with me. So once you understand the mind of the corporate hiring managers in corporate America, then I think you will be better. Matter of fact, I know you will be better at your interviews. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you are looking to become a data center customer service rep, if you are interviewing for a mechanic position, or if you're trying to apply for a continuous improvement engineer or a manager position. Companies spend lots and lots of money to get you to that interview process. And sometimes it takes weeks to months, sometimes even a year or more to find the right candidate. And they will wait it out to find the right candidate than to get the wrong candidate in the door, and then they quit 6 months, a year, or 2 years later. Okay, so companies spend money on like advertisement. They spend money on the recruiters and the time they spend on going through applications and interviewing and traveling from city to city and doing job fairs. Those are hours that are taken away from the corporate office and into the field. Okay, so those hours are also equivalent to dollars spent and investing in finding the right candidate. So here's a tip. As you're going through your interviews and when you are on the phone interview or whatever it is, your face-to-face interview, make sure you understand that they have spent a lot of money to get you there. It doesn't matter what position you are in. A lot of companies are spending money on advertisement and job boards and webmasters and hosting accounts just to make sure that their position is out in front of you when you go look for it. And they're using certain keywords to make sure they target you and get you in the door to help them achieve their quarterly and annual metrics, okay, and to bring more shareholder value. So make sure when you interview, after you interview with each company, that you send a follow-up email and just thank them for the time they spent with you. And in the I guess 5 or 10 years ago, it was kind of taboo, to send an email. But I'm telling you, I think that was a lack of people getting up to date with the time. You know, people don't send mail like they used to. They don't pay for postage like they used to, but they will send email. And there's something about instantaneous follow-up, instantaneous feedback, and being thoughtful. It's so funny because I remember one job that I interviewed for. It was maybe a week or two after I had got on the job. I was sitting in the manager's office, my manager's office, and as I was sitting there, they were interviewing another candidate for another position. And when he walked by, people were saying, how well he did. He was at an awesome job. He's a very good candidate. And when he left, there was another candidate they interviewed. And then the next day, I'm not sure if it was the next day or they were talking about it, but I remember the conversation that was being had. And they were saying, yeah, the two candidates were really good, but this candidate sent a thank you email. And one guy said, hire him. And I was like, that was so funny that they said that, because, I sent a thank you email, but to hear the people inside the offices talk about the defining razor's edge of sending a thank you email and not can basically be the determining factor on whether or not you land a job. So I recommend that you get an agenda, if they give you an agenda for your interview, or you make sure you ask for business cards before you leave. Okay, of everybody who comes to the door to interview you, anybody who you sit down with, shake hands with, ask them for a business card. And when they're done, write down on the back of the card some distinguishing feature or comment or conversation you two had. That way it will trigger your mind of who they were. Especially when you go through and meet a lot of people in one day, this is going to be very, very, very important that you do that. Okay, and also it's going to help you also bring up other information in your interview as well. Okay, so those are 2 tips you should use. Make sure you follow up and make sure you get business cards or comments on the back of those cards to help you remember or jog your memory of who you spoke to. So what I wanted to make sure I emphasize is that a lot of companies spend a lot of money on job hunting and recruiting. Okay, so with that being said, there are a lot of people who are in jobs right now they don't like. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Maybe the interview process was not as thorough as it should have been. Maybe the candidate only answered the questions as to get in the door. They didn't interview the interviewers. Kind of just trying to get in the door, right? Versus trying to make sure they were a good fit for the organization. And when that happens, when people get positions that either do not stand up to what they had originally thought it would be, it's the employee side or the employer side. It happens on both ends, right? And people get in there as they thought it should be. It's more stressful, or the impression that was made just doesn't hold up to the 24-hour impression that they had when they first met. Because mind you only have, a couple interactions to decide whether or not this is something that you want to do, which is kind of weird to me. It's very interesting that people would take 2 or 3 quick interviews or encounters. It's like meeting somebody like twice and just knowing that was your spouse or your significant other. Now, it happens maybe like 2% of the time, but 98% of the time, highly unlikely. So I think the process we use is kind of skewed. But if we use targeted selection and it's used to the best on both ends, for both the table, I think we'll be better able to find better matches of people. Maybe they won't be so frustrated, but I do think there'll probably be less jobs being filled as well. All right, so there are 3 things we want to talk about real quick to help improve the targeted selection process. That's accuracy, equity, and buy-in. So when it comes to accuracy, I think it's important to think of this. For example, which one is good? You tell me which one is good. A calculator that computes but produces incorrect answers. A tour guide who is unfamiliar with the local area. A selection process that fails to predict applicants' performance on the job. Which one is good? I want you to leave your comment below. And for those of you who leave your comment below, I have a special bonus for you. And I will be sharing that with you in your inbox. So go ahead, put your comment below this video if you're on YouTube. If you're on my website, then put it in the comment section below. And I want you to let me know which one is good. A calculator that computes but produces incorrect answers. A tour guide who is unfamiliar with the area. Or a selection process that fails to predict applicants' performance on the job. Alright, so with that being said, I'm going to leave that for you guys to answer, and I'll come back to it later. But just give some thought to that, because in each case there is something you can take away from, okay? Alright, so the next thing is equity. So it's important that we are accurate in our job selection process and in our applicant selection process. And then, of course, equity. Every company has to interview all candidates on the same level playing field. And as an applicant, you need to know the rules. How will you know if they are breaking the rules? Let me give you an example. There was a job that I once applied for, and I got the job, my first corporate job, and I didn't think anything of it, but I was sitting in the interview, maybe like there are like 6 people in there with me around a table, and the plant manager, like, he asked me, "Wow, how did you get your hair like that?" And I was like, well, I don't know. I got it done, right? And it's so funny because the people in the room, their mouths just dropped. And I was like, what's wrong with that? They were like, you can't ask someone about their hair in an interview. That's a legal question. Well, I really didn't know what they meant, but later I understood. If you haven't noticed, I am of African American descent. And even though my hair was at the time permed, my hair is natural now. It was done in a style that was very professional and clean, but I guess to him it was interesting how I had my hair. He liked it, but it was interesting. So you don't want to ask questions in an interview that are not targeted to the job. What does my hair have to do with the job? Right? He asked me an illegal question, and there are a lot of times people ask illegal questions. You should try to like break the mood, be personable, get to know who you are, maybe even test how you respond. You can't do that because they wouldn't ask another candidate the same question. So you have to be very careful the questions that are asked. You have to be very careful with how you answer them, and just be calm and collect. And don't worry about it, and just keep it moving. And so, like I said, I just laughed it off, and said, I don't know. She just pulled it up in a bun or whatever, and just kept it going, right? So just know that every company has to answer and ask questions on the same level playing field for all candidates. And the last thing I want to cover before the video continues to go on, I didn't want it to go this long, but I wanted to make sure you guys are getting a lot of value. So make sure you're sharing with me if this is valuable to you, because I want to make sure I'm giving you something that's going to help you as you go through your job process. And for those of you who are looking to be an entrepreneur, I can help you as well. So you also need to understand buy-in. For everyone you interview with, they will have the final say in what happens to your life with that company. So you say, wow, I had a very good interview with this HR manager or this manager, but that other one, I could not connect with him or her. That's not good. You have to find a way to connect with everybody. You got to find a way to demonstrate your skills to each and every candidate, because when you leave, they're going to go to a room. They're going to sit at a table. They're going to share every response you gave them. They're going to compare notes. If you said one thing or had one story and then you changed the story, or if it was very clear, they're going to either say, you know what, she told me this, or he told me this. Or they may say, well, she told me this, but maybe I wasn't listening, so don't worry about that. They'll fight for you if they like you, and they will leave you out to dry if they don't really understand how your answers are so far and in between, and so many discrepancies, okay? And they're going to analyze your resume too, and just put the pieces together and try to get a total idea of your behaviors, the way you think, and just try to predict how you fit in the organization. Okay? So make sure that you get to know everybody, you have fun, that your personality show. And it's so funny, I heard a quote by Maya Angelou, and she said, sometimes when we are in interviews or when we are meeting people, we always find ourselves, or we tend ourselves being very self-conscious and trying to figure out, what are they thinking about me? I wonder if I answered that question the way I should have. I wonder if they like what I said. I wonder if my hair looks good. Do they think I look this way or that way? right? All these limiting thoughts come in our mind. And she said, get out of my head, trying to figure out what I'm thinking, and get back into your body. See, sometimes you got to get out of their head, get out of the HR manager's head, get out of the interviewer's head, trying to figure out what they're thinking. And somebody needs to occupy your body. Somebody needs to make sure that they're thinking for you, and you have to get back into your body and be yourself. You can't be both places at one time. Either you're going to be in their head trying to figure it out, or you're going to be in your body working it out. You can't have both. Hope it makes sense. Get out of their head and get in your body. Because while you're in their head, who is at home in your body? All right? All right, so there is a lot more I wanted to cover, but I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. I think we got enough out there. And just let me know what you think, guys. If you haven't gotten access to flexjobs.com, make sure you do that. I'll put a link below this video. If you are interested in legitimate online jobs and just work from home jobs or any other job online, or just having a very amazing directory, make sure that you click on option 2 below, and you will get access to an ebook that's going to help you. That's very valuable. It's going to give you a lot of direction. And of course, there's a bonus that goes with that I provide for all those who purchase and send me a copy of the receipt. And then, of course, make sure that you connect with me on Facebook so I can help you. I'm here to help. I have a lot of skills, a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, and I just got to get this out of my head. I got to pour it in somebody, because there's no need for me to leave this earth, however many years I have left, and not share what I've acquired with you. So I hope that helped. I hope that gave you some value, and I hope to see you on the inside. Take care. Goodbye.